Talk Show, reality at its finest. Here we have real people sharing real stories and actionable steps to help you reinvent, rebuild, and reboot your business and personal life on your terms. I'm your host, Sheila Mack, and today we have special guest Maria Artango. And Maria is a business coach. She has done so much. She is in the business and women's empowerment coach, sharing and how to reclaim your self power and self energy today. So, let me just tell you a little bit more about Maria. She is the CEO of Connect Plus Learning and the CEO of Connect Employment PTY, CEO of the Employment Mentoring and Coaching Party Ltd. And Maria is a domestic violence survivor and a board member of Women Empowerment and Leadership Association. She's also the secretary of Sunnybank Chamber of Commerce. All right, welcome to the show, Maria.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Hello, everybody's beautiful,
Yes.
beautiful tribe, Australia and of course America.
Mhm. And so one of the things I like to start each show off with was my radio show actually started right after my new best-selling book came out, Bootstraps and Bra Straps, the formula to go from rock bottom back into action in any situation. And I wrote it right before the pandemic hit. I never expected this situation. And so one of the first questions I like to ask our guests is, could you share a time in your business or personal life where you hit a tough situation, a hard time, and how you got back on track?
I think that's a good question. I think the hardship that I had is about when I was growing up. Um, as a fruit salad background and army, father. And why I say I'm a fruit salad because my mom's Chinese and my dad is half Malay Filipino, and grew up to Australia. And a father is, as in the army. Growing is a lot of challenges from me growing up because as a Muslim it's quite too many challenges that I have to go through because you're the only Asian hijabi and the rest is
Mhm.
Western. And I think that's one hard one that I go in. Obviously, growing up into a Western from a beautiful home, and that's the challenge that I have to go through. And now, obviously, my marriage and I learning about culture, different culture, and that's another challenge that I have too. And also, I have so much high risk into my health because I have an allergy. Growing up since I was a kid until 2 years ago, found it the core for it. Anything I eat I can die anytime, so I
Mm.
have that's how much bad it is. And that's all the challenges that I have through, but into considerations of what I learned from those challenges, I made a decision. There's a choice that I can be able to change that around, okay, and turn it around all those challenges that I've been through. And what I did, I said, oh, I have to be able to do something for myself. How I recover from that is I just finding who I am. I just finding who really I am, what I want to do, what I want to focus on. And obviously it come up to prioritizing about me and finding what really I want to do in life. I
Mhm.
think that's the biggest things that I did. One of those prioritizing about myself, and then obviously learning from travel the world and learning about culture from different, diverse community, diverse countries, and
Mhm.
about life, about business, about religion, culture. Those are the things that I was doing it on my journey. And before obviously my marriage, in maybe that's something that's later on, I uh what I was doing is just finding going into different country about about related aligning or my culture, my backgrounds, whatsoever. I trying to put that all together. I said yes. And then when I come back to Australia, I said, this is it. And obviously, I made that massive decision. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. I focus on educating myself, and then I focus into start my own business. Even though I already had a business, I grew up in the family. Everything is, working in the family business. And I said, no, I have to stand alone for
Mhm,
myself with my own sweat and my own hard work to be able for me to do what I love to do. And
mm,
that's how I started my business. I started my company, and until now, obviously, it's the most amazing decision ever that I did to myself, is focusing on me and understanding about life, and understanding about how can I replace those. And now, as I said, okay, you can't just be only finding about yourself, you need to support yourself. And then I started a business, and I started doing things that I love to do. And for who I am today, yes, obviously, I don't have to see anything much. Yeah.
mhm. Yes, that's beautiful, and it's something I remember studying Waldorf education and Rudolf Steiner, and one of the things that he believed and taught was that when we study different cultures, we learn about the whole of humanity and who we are, what the humanity as a whole has come from, and we also are able to connect and understand people in a different level because we understand their culture. Where are they coming from? Why do they do what they do? What does it really mean? What is it about? And so to honor every culture and learn about them is learning about all of humanity and learning about ourselves at the same time.
Mhm.
Yes,
Mm,
yes.
yes. Yeah,
And
that's what I did. Yeah.
that Oh, that's
Yeah.
great. And I'd like to hear a little bit more about your story. I know you started to tell some of it. Do you have a family now? A little bit more about your background.
Of course, as you know, Maria Artango is an open book. It's an open book, and as a fruit salad. That's our slogan about me in Australia, overseas. Obviously, the people who knows me. Okay, I have such a beautiful, beautiful, two beautiful kids. My son, Kaden, is obviously 18, and my daughter is turning 17. And that's bonding that I have for my kids, I can never change for anything in life. Why? On the age of 10, my son, I was only 10 years old, and my daughter, I was 8 years old. They're the one who give me a life, because this
Mhm.
is my second life already. Sorry, I'm gonna be triggered on this one. They're the one who give me life. This is the if it's not for them, I'm not here talking to you.
Mhm.
Yes, as like I said, my life is in an open book in social media to anyone's, because I was married with the most high profile person here in Australia as a professional, and Australian boxing champion, Hall of Fame Australia, and that's my life. Travel the world because of his career. But if you guys hear about being pretty in the front of the camera, that's my life. I have two personalities, two masks that I have to carry on 26 years of marriage.
Mhm.
But when home, it's totally different.
Mhm.
It's involved on that. It's not only because of marrying a person's that high profile. This is the thing that I always advise to young generation. You have the dreams, you have anything you want in life. That's the woman's dream, to find a man.
Mm.
Sometimes it doesn't work that way. It doesn't
Right.
the way you want it. It doesn't the way it should be. And that's exactly what I learned before. I mean, that's what I was my thinking. But what I'm saying here is those journey of my life as a domestic violence survivor. Home is totally different. It's like a washing machine,
Mhm.
and you just have some moments that sometimes you just wanna. What's the point of living?
Mm. Yeah.
That was the point of living, of being pretty, being, you know, protecting the image of a person that you love. The reason for that, because you love the person, you love the person so much, and protecting the family, protecting the media.
Right.
That, how about you? How about
Yeah.
you? How what's inside of you? And that's busy my life before. Um,
Mm.
in come up in that situation, like I said, I try suicide. I try, kill myself. I have a really bad accident. If I'm not wearing a pants right now, I can
Uh-huh.
show you the rest of my life. I will carry here. I have massive scar because of that. Part of the domestic violence, and moments that sometimes we just, our mind is certain limits, how we control our minds into, you just block it, just block your mind and you collapse. So that's exactly what's happened to me. I try everything just to ease the pain, but when you
Mhm.
wake up, it's still there. I always wake up in the hospital. And
Wow.
I always wake up in the hospital every time. But like I said, the last things that okay, that's it. This is it. And when I wake up in the hospital, and then my daughter, as like I said, my son, at the time, they're the one who, when I collapsed at home, they're the one who basically helped me to survive.
Mm.
And I was dead for 15 minutes. That's based on what report. And my son was helping to first aid. Lucky he knows a little bit, punching whatever with my daughter, and that's how I survive. And that moment that I wake in a hospital, I said, "This is it. I
Right.
will." Yeah, and that's, I made that decision. It's very,
That's
very hard.
it
It's so
is.
hard. It's so much challenge. It's not that easy. It's
No.
not so easy.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yes,
and
I
that's
actually
part of.
I wrote an entire chapter in my book devoted to escaping the abuse and different ways to get out, and supporting and loving a family member or friend that may be going through something. And maybe you might have had family or friends that said, "Hey, why don't you get out now?" And you had to be ready and prepared because you're a mom, you've got to get your kids out. You've got to get, there's a fear of, if I don't get out successfully, I may die trying to get out because it's so abusive in some situations. And people on the outside that have never had an experience but with domestic abuse, they're like, why don't you just open the door and leave? And it's not that simple. And so it's to have people support you and love you and be there when you're ready and give you lots of resources to help you, especially when you have little ones involved, where you're trying to not only get yourself out, but you're trying to protect them and get them to safety as well so they don't get abused. It doesn't get taken out on them if you leave. And so that I understand that, and it's very important. For those listening in the United States and in Canada, we have something I want to share real quick for those listening in. This may be something they're going through, or they have a loved one going through a domestic abuse. Is there's a national hotline, and it's you can even Google on the internet and look up your 211 and your state or province in Canada. And I'm not sure if I'm sure there's other things in Australia that are similar to some extent. And it's a hotline where if you're going through abuse, they'll actually help you. They'll connect you with resources depending on the situation. And there's also, they help with many different situations. And so that's a great resource. Sometimes you can't help someone you love that's going through, you don't know how to help them, just getting them the resources so that when it's time and they're ready, you can help them as much as you can, and then there's resources that can help them the rest of the way, because that's all they do is keep a woman, or could be a man in some situations, and the children safe. And so that's a really important thing I love to share here, because I know it could change somebody's life. If you have a business, post it in your place of business. You don't know your employees or your coworkers going to work. Like you said, you had a mask. Everybody on the outside that, oh, this beautiful wife and mother, she's
Mhm.
happy, this great person, everything's wonderful. They didn't even know. So a lot of times people hide it, and they're protecting the loved one and the family. And so when they see something like a notice or information, or they hear this show and they hear about a way to get help, they'll be able to go and get that resource and start on their way to freedom.
Mhm.
Very
Yeah,
important.
that's correct.
Yes.
Very
So now,
important.
how did you rebuild your life, and how long did it take for you to get out and start rebuilding your family and life from that point?
I think I've been divorced now for the last 6 years. So from I get up from that situation, obviously, but it's not that easy. I faced the most hardest challenges ever. Obviously, I have to face my family. I have to face his family. I face the social media, and I faced some of the government like police, because it was protecting him at that time. Not really protecting, but when you complain or when you call, it's sort of like,
Mhm.
yeah, okay, whatever. So what I'm trying to say is I face all that now. How I rebuilt on myself, I what I did, I have a rest on my souls, my body, and my kids for 6 months. And then from
Mhm.
those 6 months, we out the country. We out the country in Australia. I just do a lot of mindset, mind mapping of what I'm gonna do to myself. When I come back to Australia, I'm going to face everything. And obviously for those 6 months, like was is to heal just my
Yeah.
mind, because it's to release everything what's happened, because open to the public already. And that's what I did, and come back. I did, like I said, I continue with my study. I now obviously I finished, all the career that I wanted to do. I still will have the master. I couldn't believe that as a single moms, and jobs and kids, and educating myself. And then I started my own business. As I said, I face it all everything what's happening around me, and I just focus on those three things: kids, educating, and then my business, my company. For the last 6 years, that's all I was doing. Just
Mm,
focusing, and then I made the decision that every single one of these women, the same shit what, sorry my language, same shit what happened to me, that every single one of them you don't need to shut up. You need someone to share your story. You have to make a voice on yourself. And this is the biggest killer for every single one of the women. They're pretending that they're happy. They're pretending that they're wearing a mask. But
yes.
inside of freaking themselves, they're killing inside. And that's what happened. In any one of these women, one day you just collapse, blank your head, and you're dead. Because
Mhm.
of those egos, because you're protecting someone you love. That's freaking crazy.
Mm,
And this is
yes.
this is the reason why for the last three years I just focus on helping women, empowering the women, travel the world, just to be a speaker, sharing my story here in Australia, doing some programs, what I can do to help you, even just an open a lights or open the door for them. If they
Mhm.
still, because women, they all good
Mhm.
pretender. Women,
Yes.
they good to hide their feelings. In front of them, good to sweet talk. But back, the same shit again.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
same thing again. So, but the
Right.
more we keep advising them, the more we awareness to them. You have a freaking choice. You want to live like that? It's your choice. But don't come to this. Don't come here and being, emotional whatsoever. What you gonna do about it? Don't give it be a drama queen. That's I always say that. I'm sorry, but that's how it is. But a lot of women these days now, since we started up here in Australia, just on International Women's Day, how many women put their hands up, step out in their real circle, step out in their comfort zone, step
Yeah.
out from their home. Yes, I want to put my hands, want to share story with you. And
Mhm.
this is what happening. International Women's Day, 3 events I did that was massive successful. And we organized the rally for International Women's Day here in Australia. Massive, massive events, right? What I'm saying is from that, how many women we made an impact just by sharing my story, by just saying to you, you have a choice. If you want to live, you need to do think about yourself or your kids. Don't
Mhm.
think about this man or whoever or you woman, because
Mhm.
these women, their wife or your girlfriend or your husband or your boyfriend, you can change them.
No.
You can change it, but your life you can't change if you died.
Exactly.
And that's basically my message. We can
Mhm.
change our husband or your boyfriend or your
No.
girlfriend, but we can't change ourselves if we already died.
Yes,
That's the message
exactly.
that I would really want to cross to all these women.
Beautiful. A
Even
beautiful
just, it's
yes, so important. And one of the ways that I share about in my book, going through my own ups and downs and different people I've worked with over time, helping people get out of abusive homes and situations. One of the things that really helped me as a person that married somebody that wasn't quite that great either, and having to get out of a situation like that with children, as similar to yours, a little different but the same in some ways. And what helped me the most was the state of mind where I realized one day that this other person may not have, whether the husband, wife, whoever it is that's abusive or having a really affecting your children and your life so much, if they were in the right mental state, if they had safe, if they were capable of being a healthy person, a safe person, the first thing as a husband, as a father, or as a wife, whatever, the first thing they would say if they were in their right mind, if they were in a healthy place, if they were a healthy person, was, oh no, my wife and my children cannot be around anybody that would harm them, even if it's me. Because if I can't help myself, they need help. That's fine. But that's not, they, out of love, the peace that you knew that was love would say, in their right mind, they would say, you need to go now. Let me help you pack. They would not want you there, or to have anybody that they really truly love, their children to see this or their wives to be hurt. They would not want that. And so they don't have the mental capacity, or something happened to them, or they need anger management, whatever they need to get that themselves. And as the one that is healthy, as a mom, what you did when you walked away and was able to get out and bring your kids out was you stopped a generational situation from continuing. You let your children see, hey, you know what? We don't have this in our lives. If somebody's abusive, you're going to go. We never are going to have this. We're going to stop this at this generation. It stops here going forward. And then they can talk about it openly as well. And it gives them a different level of discernment. And I'm sure it was very hard it wasn't easy. It's never easy. And it's harder for women than men still. This is the reality. Financially, we have the children, we have the financial burden many times, but it's still something that is much easier than losing your entire life.
Hmm. Yes. But at the
Yes.
same times, at the same times, sometimes now, obviously, before I don't really understand. Now I understand it now in a way why the abuser is like that,
Mhm.
because what happens in their past, the past from their parents, from their parents, obviously, in the past relationship, and why the abuser is continuing continue to do that
Yeah.
because
Mhm.
of what happens to that person. See, and then, so this is the reason why, I'm so passionate of helping these women, because we need to still acknowledge the man, in obviously the man, not only, I'm doing with the women, but we
Mhm.
still have to acknowledge all these men, why they're like that. We can't just blame this woman, or we can't just blame all this humanity of abuse, why we have this in our life. We have this abuse because,
Mhm.
like I said, it's caught in so many ways. Why? Because a culture, beliefs and religions and past of what happens to them, they carry on. So the best way for us to be able to not happen, as leaders, as this woman that already been affected on this, to make some strategy how we can be able to help a programs or some things to do. Hey, it's in awareness. This is the things that happen to you. Let's we help you. This is resources. This is the programs that we can be able to do that in for the next relationship you have. You know
Mhm.
already, you already aware on that. So I think, like I said, this is the focus that I'm doing at the moment. And in doing, not only you can blame men at all or women. Okay, for us people, human being, we just have to educate ourselves. We just have to
Mhm.
educate ourselves. There's so many resources, there's so many tools that we can help us. You don't need to go to a professional. You just have to go mindset changing yourself. How we can help you. You the only one can help. I'm the only one help. I can help for myself. And I did. So if I can do that, you, yourself, humanity, you just have to do the same thing. It's just go one at a time, but show them this is the way how we can do it. And training the one person, hey, come here, let's do this step by step. This is
Mhm.
all those things I mentioned. Let's do this focus, replacing all those things happen to you. If
Right.
we do that step by step, honestly, one person we help, the more second and third, it will grow. But at least
Mhm.
we made that steps.
Yeah.
In like I said, I really want to. This is the reason why I was really passionate into sharing my story, sharing not only about my story, is there already. All I want is how we can avoid it, how we can be able to help you, how we can be able to do this for you and for humanity. Not only here in my home.
Mhm.
Yes, it start from home, and other things that I wanted to add it on this. Now, obviously, generation, our old generation, we already know that 100% that there's a issue, there's a problems. It's been experience of this trauma whatsoever. The one that I really want to focus on is the youth, the new generation. My focus on right now, as I said, educating the kids, educating the youth. I have two beautiful kids. It's just as amazing. I
Mhm.
educate them about this domestic, how you can be able to recognize an abuser. If we educate our youth, our kids, our home, in home first,
Mhm.
everyone parents can do that at home.
Right.
It will freaking grow at all. it will grow because we have to start us, because we already experience ourselves. Now we already fix ourselves. Why can we help our kids first before anyone else? Because I'm doing it for my kid, educated how you do this, how you start when you have a girlfriend, son, make sure you wear condoms or whatever. Yes,
Right.
they understand that. When you know have a girl, my daughter, if you have a boyfriend, if they yell at you, you know that's already started abusing you.
Mhm.
You know, this kind of thing. So educating our kids first, every single one of us parents at home, that's what we should do. You should be the government helping this in supporting every single one of these women or a man that's already have experienced this in
Mhm.
home first.
Yes, and it starts at home, and first by modeling. The action that you took is beyond your words. That speaks so much to your children. And then to have open conversations as you go through the healing process and rebuilding your life makes them resilient, and they have a better chance of not having that happen to them because of the open conversations and you showing them by your actions. Hey, we teach people how to treat us. If they don't treat us right, we have to walk away. And that's it, it doesn't matter who or what it is. You have to have these boundaries are a really important thing when you're coming out of an abusive situation, because when you are in it, you have no boundaries, because they've taken the abuser takes all your boundaries away, and you lose control. And so it's rebuilding these boundaries and learning self-love. And so I'm wondering, what is it like for you now, all these years later? Now you're rebuilt your life, you're helping other people, you're getting this message out. When you look back, what would you tell yourself? What advice would you give to the younger you that was stuck before you had the breakthrough to leave, ending up in the hospital to leave? Before that moment, what would you tell yourself?
You know, I always tell myself, you better than this. You are more worth it than this. Your parents literally they give you a life to have beautiful life. Now it's you. I always have, a self-talk in the mirror.
Mhm.
I always say, you are more than this. People say to me before, saying, "Oh, you're too short. You are not beautiful enough. You are Asians." This kind of thing, and I was thinking, no, I don't care whatever people said. Yes, I am look Asian, but I'm Australian. Yes, I grew up in this country. I can speak English, and I say to myself, no, no, no. I do a lot of that of self talk, and I said, no, I should not. I'm not showing to the world, I'm showing to myself, no, I am going beautiful to myself. I am beautiful. I am, I have to look after myself. I'm replacing everything about my self-love. I priority myself. I replace everything of those layers of breakthrough, all
Yes.
those things, the breakthrough that I was doing it. I was replacing all those layers of self-love, self-care, of self-power. I bring all of them. I bring every single one of them. That my power before, I want it back.
Yeah.
And that's what I was saying to the mirror. You gonna bring all this power that you had before, the life that you have, you're gonna bring it back. I don't care how long it takes, and that's what I'm gonna do. And that's what I did. Like I said, number one priority for me, it's me now. My kids, my company, in my community, and the woman that I help.
Mhm.
Sharing, how can empower in helping them, because we
So
have
where were
choice,
you
every single one of us. Yeah.
Yes, where were you when you were in the middle of the abuse? Where were you on the priority? When you were in the
On the
dom
middle of the abuse, yeah, on the middle of my abuse is basically I was finding about who I am, what I want to do. I was in the middle of finding the worlds of culture, religions, because I don't understand. I was married with totally mixed culture, my ex-husband and myself. I was trying to understand it. Okay, this, like I said, I incorporate or I align all those countries that I've been learning about culture, religions, about how life is. Hey,
Mhm.
I was young at the time, so I was finding it that who I am and rebuilding about me, about the life that I have in putting it back of understanding. Please, I keep saying to myself, please let me understand. I'm not a bad person. I did everything I could as a human, as a woman, as a wife. What's my why it's happened this to me? This is the thing that I'm trying to find it out, figure it out, and this is the reason why on those gap I said, let me find the world, go in a different, finding it, and then bring it back and put it all together in one basket,
Mhm.
understanding what it is. And that's what I did. And obviously I was doing going into a lot of meditations. I go in a retreats, all these awakened and retreats that I do. And I was like doing all this, studying about Ricky's, and about all this, LNPs. I was doing that, everything about finding about life, about me, about replacing all those things. And that's what I did, all those gap. And then after that, buildings, I said, okay, let's do. I know who I am now. I know what I want to go. So I just focus on those. And until now, I just basically, all those gap,
Mhm.
I find it that easy for myself, because I know what I did in the past, and I know now what to do. Yeah.
That's great.
Does that make sense?
Yes,
Yeah.
and it is a process. So when I think of somebody else, maybe you know someone, if you're listening in, that is in the middle of a domestic abuse situation, and you kind of know, and you've offered resources and help, they may be going through parts of that journey to prepare to get out. They may not be ready today. It took a while for you to figure out, wait, who am I in this? Because you lose yourself. When you're in a really serious abuse, you are lost. Your identity is gone because they're controlling so much about what you can and can't do. And then you pretend in public and then you're suffering in private. And so it is that process. It doesn't take a day. It's like it took a while for you to build the courage and the strength to actually get out. So be patient with those you love that are stuck in a situation right now, and be available, and find other support teams that are available to help, whether it's family, friends. Some people will turn their back on you. They may not believe what's going on. They think, oh, you're making it up. It can't be that bad. They look, because the person presents as whoever it is, the abuser many times will present themselves as an incredibly loving, kind person that would never hurt anybody. And then you're like, "Oh, no, well, you go live with them," because there's a different game in there in the house. And so that's the situation that people, you may have to have everybody walk away from you to know that you're walking to your freedom, and that's okay.
I lost a lot of friends. I lost family, but
Mhm.
that's okay. I
Right.
wasn't regret of that. I can understand. I still embrace her. I still understand it. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I don't. And but now, all these years now, I have massive, beautiful sisterhood. I have massive friends, around the world. So I
Mhm.
wasn't. I'm not regretting on those things. Honestly, now, for who I am today, I'm so blessed because I made that one decision for myself.
Mhm.
I stand up for myself, and then I'm back my power. Yes, the
Nice.
power that I lost is
Mhm.
back now. And like I said, I lost friends, family, people that I love,
Mhm.
but now replacing, the universe is sending to me all these people who wants to be with me. So I'm happy
Yeah,
with that. And I connect with some amazing women, amazing people around the world. Why do I need
beautiful.
them? Why do I need them?
Mhm.
I don't need them. I got more than that now. That people who understand, people who loves, they all aligned. We're all aligned the things what I do. And they all my
Mm.
sisters, or brothers now. These men's now obviously they have, a lot of men's now put their hands, yes, definitely, because it's aligned. I mean they wants to step up themselves. Yeah.
Now,
Mm.
when you were younger, did you have somebody that was abusive in your life, or was this the first time you've experienced abuse?
No.
Really, when what?
No, my life is such a beautiful. My parents is all professional. My dad is in the army. My mom is professional in the real estate, and growing up in the army, obviously they're very strict. So I have one brother and myself, and then my youngest sister. They all obviously, all professional, but my growing up is such a loving and very supportive family, and they all, like I said, it's all come up into beautiful homes, and us is education is very important for us, as the Asian background. And yeah, I don't know, it's just when we come to obviously a new country, and um it's totally different adapting all those things, and especially you are different from the rest of the kids. So I think the challenge that I have, like I said, is when we already come to Australia, because when I was only 4 years old, turning 4 when we left the country from Philippines to Australia. And
Mhm.
a home, we living in the most beautiful paradise island on on earth. And it's just life is just amazing, you have everything in there. And coming here in Australia, it's totally different. So those are the challenges that I basically, I have from my religions to a culture, and adapting on this culture is quite hard for us. And in my growing up in high school, I mean in elementary, that's all the challenges. And then in high school, as a school sweetheart, that's how I met my ex-husband. And
Uh,
for 26 years marriage. For 26,
well,
that's the only man that I know. Yeah,
that
yeah.
was a long, long time. And when you
Yes.
first got married, was there a point where you realized maybe the honeymoon was over and things changed? Things
Yes.
changed. Mhm.
Sorry, you're cutting off. I don't hear
Oh,
much.
yeah. Did you have something, a point where first you're in the honeymoon, everything's great, and then the things changed and you were like, "Wait, is this really happening? What this isn't right." Was there a
Yeah, I
point where
think
you
yeah,
go ahead?
I think the point that I see is changes when we have lost my daughter, when my daughter last. And obviously I can come to a vaccine travel the world, so I have to stay home. And
Mhm.
we have a business. I used to have a restaurant. I have a fashion clothing at that time, and so I have to stay back. And I think one country that when they all come back, and that's how I realize this is not right anymore. And
Uh,
because yeah, it's not right anymore, and that's how the last sort of I made a decision: do I stay in this relationship, or
mhm.
I just want the sake of my kids, because the respect and the love is not there anymore. You just have to pretend a mask. You
Yeah.
just wearing a mask. Yeah, because I I have to protect his image, or I have to protect my family in his
Mhm.
family, and I have to still protect his career. So if I basically something happened, in his surrounding, in a home, it'll affect him. Yeah.
Mhm.
So what I was trying to do is balancing myself, but I can't do it anymore. Sometimes you just, I can't do this anymore. But it's so hard to go forward, like you go and then come back and then go and come back. That's what I was, my life before,
Mm.
until rock bottom,
Yes.
down. And that's I made a decision. Yeah. Mm.
Well, I think it's incredible that you survived and kept your children safe and were able to get out, and now you're sharing um, to people all over the world about how to get out and be safe and rebuild and reinvent their life and start over. You're like the cover model for somebody who did that. And it's a journey, and it when you help other people and we have open conversations, that's I think it's we don't have to keep it quiet anymore. It's not we don't have to protect somebody that's hurting us. We have to protect ourselves
Mm-mm.
and our sisters
Yeah.
and stand together as a community, as a sisterhood, being able to say, "Okay, I can help my friend," or maybe there's two women that are both escaping a situation like that. Okay, let's share the payments and share a house while we're rebuilding, or whatever you need to do, help with childcare, whatever, support each other. So it's not something to be ashamed of. You didn't cause the abuse. That's the other person's problem. You're just helping your sister, your somebody in the community get back on track. And that's how it can make all the difference.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
The
And
only
I
additional that I want, yeah, sorry. Only
go ahead.
additional that I want to say is, when you made a decision that you're gonna escape or get out from that abuser, make sure you do it. Don't go back and forward. This is this. You need
Mhm.
to stand up. You made the decision, and that's it. Just go for it, and don't look back at all.
Right.
Don't look back. Just eliminate everything. If you made that decision, stand up that and focus and make it right for yourself. And if you have a kids, and never look back.
Mhm.
Never look back. And yes, you have to make a time for yourself. You don't have to do it straight away. Just make a break for yourself in analyzing, and also think what you want to do. That's first things you
Mhm.
want. If you make a decision to get out from that situation, make sure you're ready for it. Don't do it if you're not ready, because you're still gonna come back. You're
Mhm.
gonna come back again. Okay, so that's basically that I want to say to those women ready for it.
Very
To just go
important.
for it.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, that is something that happens a lot, where people
Mm-hmm.
want the other person to change and they go back or they're afraid. And so that decision can make all the difference in your life and your children's life. And that's really important. Now, how can people, we're coming to the end of our time here. And so, how can people connect with you and learn more about what you're doing?
Okay, so they can connect to my page, Maria Artango, and then I have a LinkedIn, and we have I'm one of the Will, they call it is Will, is a nonprofit organization. It's women's empowerment in leadership, and my own organization obviously is One Heart. One Heart is basically One Heart Humanity. So the name is One Heart Humanity, and then Women's Empowerment and Leadership. And that's
Mm,
basically got it. But if they wants to connect it, as I said, I do a lot of podcasts, interview women's on my page in Maria Artingo, um, and sharing their story. This is all around the world, Australia wide, sharing their story, every single one of these women in different identity, different topic. We do that every day. And so all this woman is to do with say no to domestic violence and change the challenge. Share your story in success story. So that's what we're doing at the moment in my page. If you wants to contact and to connect with me, just go to Maria Atingo or in LinkedIn, and also Will, which is Women's Empowerment and Leadership, and also One Heart, Humanity, Women's and Empowerment and Leadership. That's you can contact me anytime, any day.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank you for sharing your incredible story, Maria. And I look forward to hearing more about all you're doing. Yes. And for those
Yes.
listening in, stay tuned. We'll be back after these messages.